Welcome to the Preferred Walk-On Show. I'm your host, Seth Saunders, joined always by my co-host, James Kim. Brother, this is the first in the history of our show, over 5 years now, coming to you live from Charleston International Airport. You got to fit it in where you can fit it in, folks. It's a travel weekend. The reason I'm at the airport is because I am going to Baltimore for the weekend to hang out with my pops and catch all three games of O's Dodgers. If you don't know, if you listen to the show and you don't know, Cal Ripken was my guy growing up, and tomorrow is the 30th anniversary of 21-31, the game where he broke Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak. So we were going for the full set. Dude, I don't know that I've ever done a full set, all three games at a major league park. So I'm really fired up about that, fired up to see my dad. And, not to bury the lead, we are going to spend the day Saturday in Annapolis at the Naval Academy for Navy UAB. So, like, on the meter of jacked up, I'm like, I'm all the way to the top.
That's awesome. Sounds like a great weekend. I hope you have a blast.
Yeah, I can't wait. So we'll have some fun stuff from Navy tomorrow. Be fun to see Horvath play live, and UAB obviously very interesting, given how things have been since Trent Dilfer took over and how they looked last week. I mean, that was quite spicy.
Yeah. Already calling for his head.
Yeah, quite spicy. So obviously week 2 coming up, starting tonight with a big one for your alma mater. But let's talk a little bit about some of the things that we saw last week, and let's start down in Tallahassee. Hand up, both of us. That's on us. We were both catastrophically wrong about the Noles and their chances against the mighty Tide. It looked like the opposite. Brother, didn't it? It looked more like 1997 than it did 2025 last Saturday.
Yeah.
Joke, yeah?
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, the Noles dominated from start to finish, the offensive line, defensive line. That was the biggest thing for me was the lines. The lines of scrimmage was dominated by the Noles. And we texted about this, and the play that signified it all was, as you said, the big nuts play, the 4th and 1 call from the own 34 right after Bama brought it back to a one-score game. So that signified to me that things are different in Tallahassee and different in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, so I think the exact words I used were brass balls call.
Yeah, brass balls.
And that is exactly how I felt about it. Here's the thing about that. I think it's such a affirmation of the belief that you have in your team when you do something like that, and they responded accordingly. And look, man, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I feel like that's the type of play you can kind of tether to as a team moving forward, knowing that your coach believes in you, knowing that you believe in each other. And I'll say this too. I think you and I were both like, man, Tommy C, probably not the best thing to say in the offseason, right? To poke the big Alabama elephant. But in all honesty, I think how it ended up working out was he was like, you know what? This is who I am. This is how I feel. And that swagger, I think his teammates kind of adopted and said, yeah, man, we're going to roll with you. We're behind you. And it gives them, I think, some character and personality. Also, we can't really talk about this game and not have a public apology to Uncle Jeff for doubting his boys.
That is true. That is true. Sorry, Jeff.
Sorry, Uncle Jeff. He's been posting pictures this week of the Gus bus, which is outstanding. So if anybody wants to hop on the Gus bus, just come along.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's not like we were the only ones. I mean, I'm pretty sure every national media pundit, we're two just, small-time podcasters here, but every national media pundit, I'm pretty sure, had Alabama and having Alabama big in this in that game. Everyone was wrong.
We certainly were not alone, but still, we were very, very wrong when it came to that game.
Except for Lee Corso.
That's right. Good for the Sunshine Scooter picking his alma mater in his last show. That was outstanding. I love that they pulled that off too. He was the only person on the panel that picked him, which was awesome. Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about another one with you, which we talked about in the preview episodes last week. But let's talk about Miami Notre Dame real quick, because I think some of the questions you and I both had was, what is Notre Dame's offense going to look like post Riley Leonard? What's their identity going to be? How's CJ Carr going to be? Seemed like we got some answers to that, although granted, still very young in the season. And I think one of the other things we were having questions about was, A, would Miami's O-line that had a ton returning hold up? And then B, how would Carson Beck look if they were giving him protection? And I think the returns on that were what you and I anticipate. He was protected, and he looked pretty good.
I think the story of that game, Miami's offense did what we expected to. Miami's offensive line looked great. Beck looked comfortable. He still made some kind of off-platform throws. His footwork looked 2024 Carson Beck, not 23 Carson Beck.
Yeah.
But it was the story of that game was Notre Dame's offensive line for me. They just didn't look like the Notre Dame offensive line of old. They're always a plug-and-play offensive line. Doesn't matter who you have on the offensive line. They just churn out NFL talent on that offensive line, and it wasn't there Saturday night. Not saying it won't be there by the end of the season, but Saturday night it was not there. I'm sorry, Sunday night it was not there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they evolve into. I think Marcus Freeman's a good coach. I just don't know where they sit. I don't have really any feel for them. I mean, look, in fairness, they lost a 3-point game, right? And it was tied late in the fourth quarter. So it's not like they got the doors blown off them or anything like that. They had a tough road game to open the year. I think Miami will be at the top of the ACC all year if they stay healthy. So not like that's the worst loss, but and to be fair, their schedule is not super daunting, Notre Dame's.
No,
it's
not.
They could very easily go 10-2, I think. So it's not like they're out of it or anything. Let's talk a little bit about Texas, Ohio State. I know everybody across America has kind of sucked the air out of the room on talking about Arch. I don't think we need to break that down a ton. But dude, it was his first game, starting in a big atmosphere. I thought Matt Patricia put his brain in a pretzel. But I just think all the people jumping off his boat are way, way premature. I still think Arch will do really good things. It's just this media narrative to anoint him the Heisman before he'd had meaningful snaps, I've always thought was a little bit crazy. I thought the bigger question for me coming out of that game was, dude, it's not like Ohio State's offense looked like world beaters either, you know? And so it kind of gives you some questions like, man, the Big Ten is legitimately wide open if they're not going to be an offensive force.
Yeah, that game kind of went how we thought it was going to. It was going to be a defensive slugfest. Like all the people who were predicting this to be a high-scoring game was really surprising to me. I mean, those are two legitimate top 5, top 10 defenses in the country. Mm-hmm. So it was really surprising to me seeing like people predict like 38-35, expecting these offenses to come out slinging it around. I never thought it was going to be that. I didn't expect it to be quite that low scoring. I expected 21-17, but I definitely took the under. But I didn't understand the hype around the high scoring atmosphere of that game. But as far as the Big Ten goes, yeah, I do think it's wide open. But I do think if Sayin develops and getting that game under his belt, that huge game against that defense under his belt, he looked good enough to develop as the season goes along to make Ohio State a back-to-back contender.
Yeah. Let's talk about one more game from week 1, and then we'll move on to the week 2 slate and pick some games there. But I do want to talk to you about Utah, just because I told you before the season started that they were just a team I had my eye on, because I think you and I have talked a ton on the show the last couple of years about Kyle Whittingham's teams are tough. They're gritty. They always seemingly have a very good offensive line. They play good defense. It's just they've had problems keeping somebody steady and healthy at quarterback. And Devin Dampier, in his debut at the Rose Bowl against UCLA, looked outstanding. And that offense looked, dude, almost like they were midseason form, I thought. And now, look, granted, some of that is probably UCLA, who neither one of us, I think, is going to be world beaters, especially given how Nico played on Saturday. But the story for me was America ought to start keeping an eye on Devin Dampier and what he looks like in that Utah offense, because they could cause some real noise and be a CFP contender, in my opinion. And I know it's early, but that's kind of where I sit with that.
Let's be realistic. The last time Utah had a semblance of an offense and a semblance of a quarterback, they won the Pac-12.
Yep.
So, and they were always in contention for the conference title when they had an offense and a quarterback. I think that they're going to be in contention for the Big 12 title throughout the season. I think they're very legitimate CFP contenders if Dampier is what we saw on Saturday. Now, granted, I'm still a little skeptical because it is UCLA. They can't stop a nosebleed. but we'll see what happens. I am very excited about the possibility, though, of this team being a legitimate threat because I love Whittingham.
Yeah, and I think with Dampier, his thing is just ball protection. And if he can minimize turnovers, then they're really going to have a shot. Because I just think he's going to give defensive coordinators throughout the Big 12 problems all year long. Yeah, they're just going to be a tough out, I think. So, anyways, just something to keep an eye on there. That was a game that kind of piqued much. We picked it last week for that very reason because I was interested in it. I don't think that was a game most of America probably cared about, but I was interested to see how he looked to open their season because I think it changes what the narrative might end up being on the Utes. So, and we'll kind of reach back and talk about some of the week one stuff as we make the picks. But let's get into it, and let's start with your alma mater, who has a big one tonight against the Louisville Cardinals. The Dukes going into the Ville as 14.5-point dogs. Bias is aside, or bias is fully present, however you choose to deal with it. Where do you sit on this?
I'm not very hopeful. I definitely not expecting a win. I'm expecting a good game. Louisville just has too much talent, in my opinion. Was really surprised last week when Barnett was named the starter coming off his knee injury last season. I fully expected him to be, if he played it all this year, I was expecting a medical redshirt. If he played it all, I was expecting, if they were doing really well, like a October, November start for him to coming back. So the fact that he played week one is huge for the Dukes. He makes that offense a lot different. So he looked really good last week. Granted, Weber State, not the best competition. So we'll kind of see how tonight goes. I think it'll be a little bit closer than this, maybe a homer pick. I think they're going to cover, but Louisville's just got too much talent. I mean, they're expected to win this game, and they should.
Yeah, 100%. They should absolutely win the football game. I don't know that I love them, though, 14.5. Like, I like the Dukes to cover that. I think it's going to be tighter. To your point, don't you think the Barrett thing, given Matthew Sluka's storyline with UNLV last year, there's got to be a leadership component to that, right? Like, I just feel like you go in a locker room and there's got to be some of that left over. I mean, look, let's also put out there, he's playing for his former head coach and former OC at JMU from Holy Cross.
From Holy Cross.
There's a ton of connection there, which is, I think that's why both of us probably thought they would slow play the Barrett injury a little bit, but he probably is, when both are healthy, the best option. So I think it's good for JMU that he's playing. I think they're a different football team. Plus, let's not discount once his college football career is done, if he doesn't end up playing professionally, he has a future in WWE next. Let's not forget that he knows how to take a fall.
Yes, he does.
Yes. Let's not forget that, okay?
Yeah.
That's of most importance.
Highlight of last season.
Oh,
week one.
Week one. It was my favorite. Okay, so we're both on the Dukes. Maybe a homer pick for both of us. I got a special place in my heart for JMU. What a great town. What a town that is alive for a football Saturday and loves the Dukes, man. So I think it'd be a cool story if they made a push this year to be the G5 rep in the CFP. Like, I just think it'd be incredible. So probably biased from both of us, but I don't care. I just think I'm not fully sold on Miller Moss yet at Louisville. I know Coach Brom does a great job, but we'll see. That's where I'm at with that. So
jury's out.
Go Dukes.
Go Dukes.
All right, the next one is one we had talked about in the preview episodes, and one you and I talked about this. This week is a week where if you're a college football junkie, like you're really into it, man, you love this slate. There's just some really fun matchups that the drive-by, I'm here for the sexy matchups, folks, could probably care less about, and I think this is one of them right here. We got Illinois.
This is a week I'm glad I got YouTube TV. 4 games at one time on one screen.
That's right. Exactly right. So the Illini, Brett Bielema, and the Barge formation heading to Wallace Wade to play the Blue Devils. Where do you sit on this? Coach Diaz going to make a charge with the Blue Devils, or you feel good about Coach Bielema and his group?
I love Coach Bielema. I think Illinois, I think it's going to be close. I do, but I think this is a game where it's going to be a very low-scoring game. It's going to be a shorter game. They're going to Bielema ball. They're going to run the ball. I think that it's going to be lower scoring in the first half. It's going to be tight, and then they're just going to pull away because they're going to wear them down in the fourth quarter. And that's just the style of game they play. And I'm not sold on Mensah. I know he got a ton of money to come out of the portal. Yeah. I like him at Tulane. I think he fits better in that style of offense. I don't really necessarily feel that he fits with Duke yet. He might later on, but not right now. And now, granted, it was against Elon, but they didn't look exactly like gangbusters last week.
No, they did not. I need this to happen though. Like, if they're not already, I haven't checked to be very transparent, but somebody at Illinois needs to make a barge formation T-shirt. And
yes, they do.
Like that has to happen. And I will purchase one, and I will certainly purchase one for my boy. So, yeah, I need that to happen. You know, they're 2.5-point road favorite, and I think there's probably some merit in that. The way I feel about Illinois is they understand who they are. They understand what their identity is, and they're perfectly fine operating within those confines. I also love that they've got returning experience at quarterback. And, dude, Luke Altmaier's taken a lot of snaps as a starting quarterback at top level of football. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Illini in this one. Big road win for that program. It's interesting that we've talked about this before, but I think it's a good culture fit. Bielema at Illinois.
Yeah,
like I think it works well. So yeah, I like them. This is one I'm super excited about. Cy-Hawk rivalry game. You know we love it. And dude, you got Iowa State. The Cyclones are 3.5-point home favorites. Rocco Beck, man, you know how I feel about him. I just think he's got a lot of it to him. I think he's going to be a big time X factor in that Big 12 race. And dude, Matt Campbell's. Does anybody not like Matt Campbell gets less love than he should get nationally for what he's doing in Ames, in my opinion.
He really does. And I'm going to be completely honest. Before the season, I was all over Iowa in this game. I really was. I was bigger on Iowa than other people. And then I saw them play week 1, and they reverted right back to what they were at the beginning of last season. Yeah. And maybe by the end of the season, middle of the season, they'll learn how to throw the forward pass again, but they're right back to what they were. And I can't – defense is great. Offense is trash. I cannot get by. I don't know what it is about that team. They just cannot figure it out on offense at all. And when I finally think that they do, it's not there. So I'm going to go with the Cyclones, and I love what Campbell's doing there, and I love Beck too. I think that he's the perfect fit for that team, and – their offensive line also, I like the quarterback counter that they run. While watching week 1 against K-State, I love the way that they run that, pulling, a guard and a tackle. Spectacular play.
Yeah, man, I think they're just, if they were in another college town or had a different brand attached to them, the narrative around them would be completely different, given how successful Matt Campbell's been there. And we're not talking just last year. You're talking about guys he's churned out, guys they put in the NFL. Like, they are a very, very good football team. And so, yeah, man, this is a fun game. And obviously heated rivalry between these two schools. And so, yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to take Iowa State. I like them a lot. I've been pretty clear. I think they are square in the mix for a Big 12 title. And so we're going to see, man. Had a huge win at Aviva Stadium over in Dublin. In the what did Frank tell me they called it? Farm Ogeddon instead of Farm Ogeddon, which I love.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's outstanding. So yeah, they're both on the Cyclones.
Both on the Cyclones, yeah.
Not a lot of divergence from the boys this week. This is probably not a good thing.
We didn't have much divergence.
Next one is another fun cross-conference matchup, and that is the Baylor Bears coming off a tough opening week loss to Auburn. Head and play SMU. And SMU is a 2.5-point home favorite. Where are you sitting on this one? What's your gut tell you?
So I watched the majority of that Auburn-Baylor game. And what surprised me was the lack of adjustment by Aranda to Jackson Arnold's legs. Mm-hmm. Jackson Arnold played best I've ever seen him play in college. And it was predominantly using his feet to set up the pass game. Yeah. They were able to run the ball really well with the running backs as well because of his feet. And I'm not sure that Jennings can do that to them. And if this is going to be, not saying that he can't run, I'm not saying that he's going to do it like Arnold will. And if this is going to be just a straight, pro style drop back game, give me Baylor all day. Because I just think that they're more talented. I think that Robertson, their offense is going to be able to score more than on their defense than Auburn. Yeah. I just think they're a better team. So I like Baylor. I don't like the fact that I'm picking all away teams, but I like Baylor.
Yeah. So, dude, didn't Robertson throw for like 4 bills?
Yeah, he had a great game.
He shredded Auburn secondary. So I don't think the expectation around Baylor's offense was that bad. I was with you, man. I just was surprised they gave up that many points. And yeah, they had no answer for Jackson Arnold. Auburn stretched them out. The other thing is Auburn scores a special teams touchdown, which I feel like that always shifts the dynamic.
Yeah.
And so, this is a hard one for me because I love Kevin Jennings. I do, man. Like, when he's on my TV, I can't not watch. He's just that kind of player. And to your point, their intention is not for him to run 15, 20 times a game. They don't want him to do that. I just wonder if, given his elusiveness, the way he can extend plays, if they're just going to have the opportunity to bust some big stuff. And, they're at home. I think it'll be electric there. I'm going to take SMU. This is probably a bad pick. Baylor starting 0-2 would have seemed impossible to me during the preseason. I just thought they were going to be in it, man. And if they start 0-2, there are going to be some upset people in Waco about the start to their season. But I'm going to take SMU. So Pony Express for me. First point of divergence. That's where I'm landing. I'm riding with Kevin Jennings in this one. Although I still think, dude, Sawyer Robertson going to have a big old game on Saturday. Okay, dude, this may be my favorite game of the week, and I don't know that it's really close. The Border War. This is one of those games they never should have stopped playing. This is one of the games where when they did conference expansion, I was fired up because I knew this was the kind of stuff we're going to lose. And so I am beyond fired up that they are playing. In Columbia, KU heading to play Mizzou. Dude, Mizzou is a 6.5-point home favorite. This feels like a trick. To me, this feels like a trick because there's just so many things I feel good about with the Jayhawks. And again, I am full of bias when it comes to them. However, tell me what you think.
So I am full of bias as well, indirectly because of you and the family. But this is the reason Mizzou is favored is because of their beef up front.
Yeah.
They're just they're bigger, they're faster, and they're front 7 on defense and they're front 5 on offense. That's just where it is. And Vegas is expecting them to wear down Kansas.
Yep.
That's just what it is. Yep. Now, as far as if you are giving me the better quarterback, give me Kansas all day.
Yeah.
So I will take Kansas over whoever they line up for Mizzou. I expect it to be Bo. I'm just going to go with Bo. I can never say his name. Yeah. So I'm expecting him to start and to play the majority of the game. I thought he was the better of the quarterbacks last week for them. Now, granted, it was against, a high school team. But
Horn's hurt, isn't he?
Huh?
Horn's hurt, I think.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think he got hurt like first or second play, and I think it's like not a comeback this week injury.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So, well, either way, I think Bo's the better option for them because he's more dynamic. His feet. But I'm probably going to regret this.
He's hedging.
And the cover, I'm not confident in it. I think it's going to be a backdoor cover. I think Mizzou inevitably wins the game, and I think Kansas makes a late comeback that falls short.
Yeah, here's my concern, right, is Jalen Daniels is the straw that stirs the Jayhawk drink. And in order for them to get where they want to go, he's not only going to have to throw it, he's going to have to run. And my concern is him taking a ton of hits. And I just think the physicality of that Mizzou defense, dude, Damon Wilson being chief amongst them, I don't know, man. I think that it's just going to be tough. Now, to your point, he is the best quarterback in the football game, and it's not close, right? And that's why this is tough for me to gauge and pick, because he's the kind of guy that can turn a game. And so I think I'm with you. I like KU to cover, but I don't like them straight up. So I'm going to take KU, and this is 100% part of my bias taking over. But regardless of what happens in the game, I'm just excited as a college football game that the border war is happening, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is college football. This is what's good for the game. And so I'm fired up that it's happening. It's the game I am most excited about on the full slate. And that's even with huge matchup in Norman, right? It's just, I love the history of this game. And do not get it twisted, okay? If you're not familiar with this rivalry and these two schools, they hate each other. Capital HATE. So it's going to be, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this one. All right, dude, the next one is fun, and you got to fact check me on this. Texas State playing UTSA. Meet, go Roadrunners. Texas State going to join the Pac-12 in football, by the way. GJ Kenny's bunch.
Yeah, which this is weird.
Crazy, man. That program is taking off like a rocket. Well, dude, is this not the matchup where they play for like a golden shopping cart or something?
It is something. Is it a shopping cart? Is that what it is? It is.
Dude, I'm pretty sure it's like a golden shopping cart.
That's awesome.
I'm going to fact check that, but I will try to find a picture about that. But I'm pretty sure that that's right.
Oh, that's spectacular.
Which even, regardless if we cared about either one of these teams, if they're playing for a golden shopping cart, we're fucking picking it, dude.
Yeah, we're picking it.
Yeah, we're picking it. So I really hope I'm right about that. Dude, I could have swore that was somewhere in my brain that happened. I can like specifically see a still shot from like a sideline cam. I don't know. I'm going to look that up then. But so yeah, that is. I'm pretty sure they play for a shopping cart, which there is no better rivalry trophy in America than that, if that is true. Where do you sit on this? UTSA 3.5-point home favorite.
I know next to nothing about both of these teams. I know more about Texas State because they're in the Sun Belt. I think. I mean, UTSA should win this game. They're at home. They have the better roster. But Texas State is the more interesting story for me. But I can't pick another road team. Can I? Can I pick all road teams?
Sure you can. You could go all 10 road teams. That'd be just fine. Live dangerously.
Have I picked a home team yet?
Nope. Sure haven't. No, you did. You picked Iowa State.
I'll go Texas State. For conference.
So we have to fact check me on this too. Sorry, I'm not fully averse. I'm shooting off the hip with this matchup, but I am pretty sure that the head coach at UTSA, who is Coach Traylor, yes, Jeff Traylor.
Yeah.
I don't want to screw this up. I think Jeff Traylor was GJ Kenny's high school coach.
Interesting connection.
God, I hope I'm right on that. That would be the pull of all pulls. I'll fact check that. But there's some connection there between Coach Traylor and GJ Kenny. And so that's awesome. And they were obviously very good when GJ Kenny was playing quarterback there. So, this is tough. UTSA, I've loved to pick. We were Team Roadrunners 2 years ago. I think we picked them every single week of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun year.
Big time meat fans. I'm going to go Texas State, though. Again, I really like what Coach Kenny's building from a program perspective there. I think, just from a global perspective, the fact that they are making moves to get themselves in the Pac-12 is awesome. And we also had a guest a few years back tell us that San Marcos, Texas is one of the most underrated college towns in the United States of America. So
yes. Isn't that the one that has like the river or something going right through the campus?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to them to try to see about getting credentials for a game to go down there and cover, and they were super nice. I just haven't figured out a date that would work, but that's on the list for sure. That's going to happen at some point. All right, I'm taking Texas State. So we're both on Texas State.
Yep.
Oh boy, this is a lot of road action. All right, this will be home action for both of us. The game will be out tomorrow. UAB traveling to Annapolis to play the Midshipmen. Dude, Navy is a 20.5-point home favorite, and I think that probably is a little low, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, probably. It's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. I think Dilfer's tenure might make UAB regret bringing their football program back.
Lord.
I don't.
Tough.
What is it about him that just makes him so insufferable? He's just, I don't know. He rubs everyone the wrong way. There's no way people want to go play for him. He's gonna have. I would be shocked if he makes it through the season. Honestly.
UAB, alma mater of Sam Hunt. No.
Yes.
Quarterback. UAB Blazer quarterback Sam Hunt. Dude, he played against the Dogs.
Was that?
That was a long time ago.
But
played against the Dogs.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Way back machine.
Well, here's the thing, okay? I'm going to focus less on UAB's ineptitude as a program currently, and I'm going to focus more on Navy and Blake Horvath because, again, you're talking about a team that knows who they are, a team with identity, a team with experience at the most important position on the field, and a team that very much was in the mix for the American title till the end of the year last year. And, by the way, beat the American Conference champion in the Army-Navy game. So, I just think they're an interesting story. And also, I mean, how just ripe with nostalgia and storyline would it be if Navy is the G5 rep for the playoff? It probably won't happen, but doesn't mean we can't root for it, right?
Yeah.
Plus, their athletic department hashtag is Roll Goats.
Oh, that's stellar.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm taking the midshipmen, and I think it'll be larger than 20 and a half.
Yeah.
I will throw this wrinkle in the mix, though. It's supposed to be a horrendous thunderstorm, I think, in Annapolis around kick tomorrow. So, although I think that favors Navy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So anyways, all right. Well, we're both on Navy. Live coverage from that game tomorrow. This is an interesting game strictly because of what happened week one. And that's USF and Florida. I can assure you, if they hadn't blown the doors off Boise State, and who's the kid that plays quarterback for them? Byram Brown? Is that how his name? Dude, he was awesome. And he's senior, I'm pretty sure. So they're interesting.
I know that he's a senior for a really stupid reason because.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so when college football brought back their game, College Football 25.
Yes.
Everybody was talking about best teams to play, and everybody was all over South Florida because he was one of the fastest quarterbacks, and you want a mobile quarterback in college.
Yeah.
And you could have him for 2 years. So everybody was all over South Florida. So yes.
That makes me so happy. That's how you know who he is. that is very on brand for us. I love that.
But no, they were really impressive. And, I mean, offense was extremely impressive. But let's talk about the defense. Now, granted, Boise State's not the same without Genty, but they still got their quarterback back. And one of their wide receivers and their tight end, their offense was still expected to be Boise State offense.
Yeah.
And they shut them down after that first drive.
Dude, Boise State looked inept.
Yes. They looked confused. They looked like they couldn't, didn't know their own playbook. So, granted, I don't expect USF to pull off the upset. They don't have the Jimmies. They don't have the Jimmies and Joes.
Yeah.
So, I do think this is
17 and a half, though. It's a big number.
Yeah, I do expect this to be a little bit closer than people think, especially because of Brown. I just think he's that dynamic.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to think of Florida. I mean, they played. What was it? Who did they play last week? I don't even know.
Long Island.
Long Island. So I don't know what to think of them after last week. I mean, I feel like we're not going to know a lot about some of these SEC teams until week 3.
Yeah.
So it's kind of I'll wait for judgment till then. But I like South Florida to cover. It may be a backdoor cover, but I expect them to cover.
I'm with you. I like South Florida to cover. I think my thing with them, too, is, again, I'm going to go back to the global picture of things, is they are investing heavily in football. They are going to build an on-campus stadium, so they're not playing at the James anymore, Remy James. And so I just think there's something to that. And I think, what's their head coach's name? Alec Golish. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, I just think good personality fit. And I liked what I saw, man. I just thought on offense they looked really, really comfortable and stretched the field a lot. And again, I'm with you. I don't think they're going to beat Florida, especially in the swamp. But I think they have some interesting offensive weapons where they could keep it close enough to cover. Even if it's 17, that's enough for us to cash the ticket. So
yeah, exactly.
I like USF in this game. Another road team, by the way, that we're on. Could some of this be influenced by my historical bias for the team that plays in Gainesville? No comment. I do like Lagway, though. I think he's very good.
Yes.
And if healthy, we talked about this. I think they could be a factor in the SEC, especially an SEC that looks like Alabama, at least after 1 week, might not be as big of a heavyweight as we thought they were going to be. Okay, this is the one America is talking about. You'll notice this is game 9 on the pick sheet and not game 10, and there is a very good reason for that, and I cannot wait to get to game 10 because of it. However, game 9, Michigan, the Wolverines, and Bryce Underwood heading down to Norman, to the Palace, which that does not get talked about enough, that Oklahoma calls their stadium the Palace.
Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, I don't know the etymology on that, which that's on me. I'll figure that out. But it's still a great nickname for a football stadium. Oklahoma is a 5.5-point favorite. Obviously, tons of juice coming in. John Mateer there at quarterback, Jaden Ott. They're looking to do big things, and this is a litmus test for both these programs. I thought Bryce Underwood looked outstanding week 1. So, yeah, we talked about this a little bit off air, but I think Bryce Underwood being the sensation that some have said he can be as a freshman, boy, does it change the picture on Michigan, because defense was not the problem last year. They just had an offense that only knew how to go in reverse. So I do not have a ton of feel for this game at all. Where are you at on it?
So this is honestly, I go back to the same thing. True freshman, first road start, big road environment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest factor here. Is Bryce Underwood extremely talented? Yes. Can he make all the difference? Yes. We're going to know really fast Saturday night.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma wins this game. I think they're going to cover. I think Underwood's going to do some great things. I also think he's going to show his age and make some mistakes that's going to cost them. I think this isn't going to be necessarily indicative of how these team seasons are going to play out, though, being week 2, like it was week 2 last year for Michigan when they got the doors blown off them. So against Texas. So I don't want this to be like I'm dogging Michigan for the rest of the year, because I don't think that's necessarily the case for them. It's just because he's so young and inexperienced. So I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, and I think that he's going to do great things. It's such a big test in your second collegiate start to go into Norman and pull off an upset.
Yeah. Here's my thing, and I'm just going to throw this out there. My feel is he gives them such an ability to extend plays and do things off schedule that my gut is they're going to hit something early. Michigan is going to hit something early. I don't know if it's Underwood escaping something and hitting a big play, or he scrambles for a big game. I don't know what it's going to be, but I don't know. That's what my feeling is. And I think if they can do that and kind of take the air out of that environment a little bit, God, I think it's going to be a war. You bring up many, many good points and all the things that are the smart things to say. And I should very much be on that side of the ledger. There's just something, I don't know, I feel it in my gut that says Underwood's going to have one of these games where people start going, this kid's a freshman? I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. So I'm going to take the Wolverines. I think this could be a launching point game for both these programs, right? Because it's a huge matchup. You're on national TV. It's a big stage for both. But, dude, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think Oklahoma's going to be a good football team this year. And, again, if your scenario plays out, this could be the second year in a row Michigan acts as the leaping off board for a new SEC added team, because Oklahoma wins this game and they're starting to feel themselves a little bit, right? So, yeah. All right, well, finally, we have different pick. So, there it is. I'm buying into the Bryce Underwood hype, and I'm going to take the Wolverines. So, okay, I told y'all last game on the slate. Are we going to do any of this? FBS level, all the big time games everybody's talking about? No, we sure are not. Because these guys got their roots in FCS, and we don't forget where we came from, baby.
Oh,
and
boy.
there is a monster matchup tomorrow night at 8:00 in Bozeman, Montana. San Diego, South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits are heading to Bozeman to take on Montana State, 2 versus 3 early season tilt. Dude, we're talking Texas, Ohio State of FCS here, brother. Like, if America's not excited about this, that's their problem, not ours. We're excited about it, and it's justified, damn it.
Yeah.
All right, here's the pickle on this. Tough time finding a reliable line on this game, okay? I did find one that listed South Dakota State as a 10.5-point road favorite, and that felt a little insane to me. I know Oregon blew the doors off Montana State last weekend, but, like, dude, it's Oregon, okay?
Yeah.
I think that was pretty much the expected result. They got paid to go do that. That just seems like a huge number. So let's call it this, just for you and I's purposes. Let's call it 6.5, given that these teams traditionally play in the FCS semis or something of that gravity. Yeah. So yeah, let's go there. Dude, South Dakota State, very, very good football team. Hosted new head coach Brennan Marion and the Sacramento State Hornets last weekend in the go-go offense and absolutely shut them down. Former Georgia, Florida, and Arizona State quarterback Jaden Rashada is the starting quarterback for Sacramento State, and they put him in a vice all game long. It was not a great opening game for Sac State, who is making every effort financially in every single way to become an FBS program. But South Dakota State reminded them that when you come play the Jackrabbits, you better buckle the chin strap and bring your lunch pail. And it was all Jackrabbits all night. So, anyways, where you sit on this? You going Montana State at home, or you feeling SDSU?
Give me South Dakota all day. So I love the Jackrabbits. Their defense, it's their defense all day. They're going to be able to stop them, their running game, which is what Montana State wants to do. And if they stop the run game, this is going to get ugly quick. I don't know if that line at 10.5 is legit. I don't know if it's going to get that high, but this is going to be a physical beatdown. Like, they're going to need some ice baths on Sunday.
Unfortunately, this game I think is only available on ESPN3, but I will be watching it, keeping an eye on it while we're at the Orioles game on Saturday night. I'm going to have the phone going in addition to front row, full panoramic of Camden Yards playing. So it's not going to be much better than that for me. I'm essentially going to be in heaven. I'm going to be at Oriole Park watching the O's play, and I'm also going to have college football on the phone. Like, what a world. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I'm with you, man. I'm taking South Dakota State. What did we talk about last episode? That 12 of the last 14 FCS national titles reside in the states of North Dakota and South Dakota.
Yeah.
So if we're picking FCS, I think I'm going to stick with South Dakota State. They've got 2 of those, 2 of the 4 that don't reside at North Dakota State. So I'm going to go South Dakota State. Good football team. Dude, I think Montana State, really good football team, too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, this ball game. But just for all y'all that are all up here at these FBS games, tune in to some FCS football, baby. We're going to trumpet. Dude, we're doing this. I'm just telling you right now. We're going to do this every week. We're picking an FCS game every week. Maybe 2.
It's great. More exposure for it.
More exposure for FCS. I need it to happen. Had a great time last week at the Citadel. What a cool stadium. They could not have been more accommodating. I think my favorite part,
great uniforms.
Oh, electric uniforms. I think my favorite part is that, like the academies, Citadel's team goes over to the Corps of Cadets at the end of the game, and they all sing the alma mater together. And, dude, North Dakota State, the entire team and the entire coaching staff stayed on the field for the entire thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really, really cool. And then after the alma mater, they retire the colors, so they lower the American flag, and the appointed cadets fold it, with honor, all the things. And Yeah, they stayed for all that. I thought it was a cool gesture, man. You know, like you don't have to do that, but
That's awesome.
It was cool. Dude, Citadel, good on their defense, man. I thought they stood up as much of the first half as they could. They just had zero offense, which is a real shame because that defense has got some nails to it. But yeah,
it just got worn down. I mean, it's tough against North Dakota State.
Tough, man. I'm gonna tell you something too. That quarterback can play. He slings it lefty, and he is tough as nails. He is not afraid to pop you in the mouth. So they're gonna be in it again, man. I mean, they were unanimous number one in the coaches poll for a reason. They're legit. So
yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, we got to keep an eye on that because once it moves to Nashville, I think we should probably start trying to make a pilgrimage.
Gonna go freeze again?
Yes, I'm okay with that. Football weather, baby. It can't be any colder than we were in Madison and Bloomington.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Well,
it can always be colder.
All right, homie, that's all I got. That's our slate this week. Hope we do good, and we'll have some coverage for you this weekend, and then we'll check back in. So, week 2, don't take any of them for granted. This is the only week we got. Let's watch them and enjoy it. And until we come back and hit you again, kiss your nooch.